right, welcome to TYT Classics, where we have fun laughing at ourselves from yesteryear.
Yeah.
This is speaking of fun, a very fun video. From back in 2009, a woman was very upset about crunch berries or the lack thereof. Let's go to the videotape.
A woman in California believes that Captain Crunch cereal is very deceptive, and the company that makes Captain Crunch basically deceived her into believing that the berries in Captain Crunch are actual fruit. So she goes ahead and sues Captain Crunch with crunch berries.
Can I pause? Does she believe that Captain Crunch is a real person? She probably does. She's like, that damn Captain Crunch told me there were crunch berries in there. It turns out there isn't even anything called a crunch berry. By the way, that's what happened. Like they go to court, and she's like, she'd been eating it for 4 years,
right,
believing that it was actual berries, that crunch berries were real fruit. And then come to find out, it turns out she's been had. She's been duped. So she sues Mr. Crunch. And the judge has this hilarious ruling. Well, I mean, he's very straight-laced about it, right? He's not kidding around. He's just like, well, the court has investigated and found no evidence of crunch berries existing in the real world.
Right.
That it is not a real berry or a real fruit. And it would be unreasonable to assume that a normal human being would consider it a real fruit. So we don't believe that they were doing deceptive advertising, and only a person this monumentally dumb could actually believe there were real berries in Captain Crunch berries.
Okay, so several things to say about that. Number one, that was amazing how little of the story I let you tell.
Oh, yeah. So I have so many thoughts about this. You know, I feel like what's made me as strong as I am has been like just sitting next to you and doing my job next to you all these years. Because I've had to learn to overpower you at times when I want to make a point, right? Yeah. And that's not an easy thing to do. Like, you talk a lot. But you know what? Like, thank you for making me stronger, I guess.
Okay, well, that's I believe that there's a word or a phrase in the English language for that. It's called a backhanded compliment. Okay.
But when I watch these videos, I always think about how like sweet and young and innocent I was. I was so young and innocent and sweet.
Yeah, it's she's innocent.
Yeah.
And so I bulldozed you over there when you got like one sentence into the story, and you're like, all right, well. And then at one point you try to say something. And I'm like, oh, no.
Totally.
On the other hand, what I said was funny. I have a real point about this, believe it or not. You know, it's another thing I feel I got duped on. The fucking berries. They're just not real. No, on all the propaganda against trial lawyers. And some of it is, of course, warranted, and there are some ambulance chasers. And some of the lawsuits are preposterous, like this one, right? But a lot of it is then marketed, and they do propaganda because trial lawyers go up against corporations.
Yes.
And they're one of the few checks on corporations.
Yeah.
And so that's why the corporations then take those stories and embellish them and then just amplify them all throughout the media.
Yeah, in fact, a classic case is the notorious McDonald's hot coffee case, because I had bought into the propaganda, not really knowing the details of that case. And okay, so there's this show, and it's called Adam Ruins Everything. And he has like these clips up on YouTube, and I was watching his clip on that particular case, and it made it seem like it was like some young woman who was driving, and she was super irresponsible. She spills her coffee, and then she's like, time to cash in. But it was actually an elderly woman. She was a passenger in the car. The coffee was insanely hot. In fact, there had been hundreds of other people who were seriously injured from that hot coffee. They had just never made a case out of it. And this woman didn't even want to sue, but she had third-degree burns and had to be hospitalized, and her medical bills were out of control expensive. So she kept trying to get McDonald's to at least just please pay for the medical bills. And at first they said they would, and then they gave her the runaround. And she's like, I have no choice. This is $70,000 in medical bills. And so she took them to court and she won. But McDonald's had hired propagandists to put out all this like defamatory stuff about this woman. And that's the reason why for the longest time, people like us thought that it was like some frivolous lawsuit, but it wasn't.
So I'd read into that a while back, and in the beginning I thought the same thing, but after I read into it, to me the most convincing part was that McDonald's knew, and they'd been told hundreds of times, the coffee burned people, it gave them third-degree burns. But for business reasons, they thought, well, it's better to make it hotter. I don't remember the exact details as to why. I think maybe because then it takes less time to cool down, or more time to cool down, and then they could have, save more coffee. They don't have to throw it out, et cetera. I don't remember any of those details. But for business purposes, they knew that they were burning people all across the country and didn't care until they got taken to court, and they're like, God damn it, now we have to fix it, right?
Yeah.
And so that's
what that woman did was actually pretty courageous, because she still kept fighting, even knowing that all this like defamatory stuff was being put out there by this massive corporation. And what she did was the right thing, because it saved, countless others from the damage and the pain that she had to go through.
One last super quick serious point, and then we'll get back to the fun, because we have a second clip for you guys. I was interviewing Mike Papantonio yesterday on Rebel Headquarters. He's the host of Ring of Fire, one of the best trial attorneys in the country. That's not anywhere near an exaggeration. He might be the best. And he just won a $670 million settlement against DuPont, or trial against DuPont, because of the C8 toxin that they were putting into their products, and then putting into the rivers and the streams, et cetera, and that got into all of our systems. Over 99% of Americans have C8 in their body because of, and partly because of DuPont. Okay, and the local governments were letting them get away with it because of corporate capture. The EPA was letting them get away with it, and then they took it to court, and they proved that it was a toxin. DuPont knew all along, and they knew all the dangerous things that it created, including cancer, but they wanted to make an extra dollar. And so PAP got $670 million for 3,500 defendants, and now all of a sudden DuPont's like, yeah, C8, did we say C8? We didn't really mean C8. Did we poison you? We didn't mean to poison you. Actually, we did, and that's why we had to pay $670 million. And so there is no government supposed to represent us, but it got captured. The only thing, one of the few things left that have not been captured are trial lawyers. That's why corporations hate them. They get under their fucking skin. So they're trying to get around that by buying all the judges, right? Oh God. There is corporate tyranny in this country, there really is. Anyway, okay, sorry, back to fun. We discussed other cereal after the infamous Crunchberry suit. Let's watch.
What's really funny about this story is the same lawyers that brought this case to the judge, right? They also previously basically defended a person who thought that Fruit Loops were deceptive.
Because it turns out there's no fruit in the Fruit Loops. And then I'm surprised they haven't gotten to Lucky Charms yet.
Right.
I had Lucky Charms. It turns out there are no Lucky Charms in there. I didn't have any luck at all. I mean, you can go on and on.
Right.
No, but the thing is, they spent money bringing this case. That's the part that amazed me. Okay, she's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, if you will. How appropriate is that for the first time?
Is there cocoa in Cocoa Puffs? I think there might be, actually.
Now I'm beginning to wonder about everything. Is there fruit in Fruity Pebbles? Are there pebbles in Fruity Pebbles?
Oh yeah, you could totally
think about it.
Bring that to the judge.
In which case, I'm not sure you want to eat it. Even if they're fruity, pebbles are kind of tough on the teeth. Anyway, but they spent money to be like, oh, we got him. We got freaking Captain Crunch. Let's sue his ass. There are no berries in here. I love how people think they're clever. So, of course, they get thrown out. And normally, you throw out a case in a way that they could be appealed or could bring it back. Judge in this case was like, no. Okay, this court is not going to waste their time with this case anymore. It is dismissed, and you cannot ever bring this suit again, which I enjoyed.
Okay, I have to ask you something, and you have to be honest with me. Did you like me more back then?
That's a super fascinating question.
Yeah.
What do you mean? In what context?
Because back then, like I now remember how I would think of you, right? Like I thought of you as, oh my God, that's my boss. And Like, I was so nice to you in that clip. Like, I would laugh at your jokes and
there is one possibility that they were funny.
No, but I was so like, I agreed with everything you said, but you know what? You're right. I mean, that was a light clip. It's not like there was anything big to disagree about. But I just feel like if we were to cover that story today, I would act a little differently with your cheesy jokes.
You know, I just figured out why.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, let the record note that I do not believe they were cheesy. In fact, as we were watching the clip, I was thinking, come on, Cenk, say Cocoa Pebbles. There's no pebbles in Cocoa Pebbles. Because I forget these clips entirely, and I was like, Fruity Pebbles, nice job, Cenk. Okay. No, we've become like an old married couple.
Yeah, totally.
Like in the beginning, oh, he's funny, he's this, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I respect him. By then, like this fucking guy. Okay, right? I mean,
Totally, yes.
I mean, we've been on the air together for over a decade.
Yeah, in April of next year, it'll be 12 years for me, which is insane.
Yeah. So, what are you gonna do? Every guy out there is shaking his head, going, "I know it, brother." All right. Anyway, that was a fun clip, and apparently we got a fascinating revelation out of that.
Yeah.
So, hope you enjoyed it.